Peach Boy Riverside talks about Saltarine Aldyke, or Sally, who is a princess of a kingdom. One day, a group of Oni appears and attacks the kingdom. Moreover, Oni also threatens to kill all the villagers. Fortunately, the villagers are helped by a wanderer named Kibitsu Makoto. Kibitsu Makoto is an Oni hunter who has psychopath side to him and above average fighting skill. He is feared by Oni tribes because he can slaughter Oni by himself. The story begins with Sally, who encounters a dying bunny demi-human. She then gives her a carrot so that she can wake up. It is known her name is Fra, a demi-human, one of the races that exist in that world. Fra then goes on a journey with Sally to return the favor. They'd arrive in a village, but Fra's presence is not accepted in the village because demi-human is considered wild for the villagers. Moreover, the fact that Fra defeated an Oni which attacked the village frightens the villagers even more, even though she has helped them. Fra and Sally finally decide to leave the village. Unfortunately, they are ambushed and arrested by the royal knights to be questioned due to Fra's presence as a demi-human. Luckily, a commander of the Rimdal kingdom, Hawthorne Gratter, who is aware of the situation, releases them. At the same time, a group of Oni consists of Meki, an ogre, and Set, a giant walrus Oni, are ready to attack the kingdom. The kingdom of Rimdal is destroyed in only one strike of Meki's Kihao blast. Meki, who has run out of her energy, transforms into her child form. Meanwhile, Set charges forward and finishes off the entire knights. Sally, who sees that, moves forward without she realizes it. Fra helps her from behind but doesn't affect Set. He is no match for Set due to the large difference power of theirs. Fra, who is nearly killed, is rescued by Sally, who is suddenly possessed by an unknown power within herself. She then turns to attack Set and manages to slash Set's right arm. Sally's eyes show a peach sign which indicates that she is being possessed by a power. Moves to other scene, Meki is sitting alone, waiting for Set. She encounters Kibitsu Makoto, who is the famous Oni hunter. He is famous because he isn't hesitant to slay the Oni by himself. When he encounters Meki, he immediately knows that Meki is an Oni. His hunting spirit increases immediately, but because Meki's power is still recovering for 15 minutes, he waits for Meki's power to fully recover to fight him later. At first, Makoto cannot fight him because Meki uses her Sendu allows her to have many shadows. Makoto with his killing spirit gives a surprising attack to Meki where the Sendu she made is immediately destroyed. In addition, he also opposes Meki to attack him when his leg was stabbed by his own katana so that Makoto couldn't move. Instead of losing after getting Kiho's attack, Makoto is still standing straight without the slightest wound. Because she had used her power, Meki then returns back to her child form. It is Makoto's turn to launch his attack. After all this time, he is just playing with her. He then stabs his katana right in Meki's head so that she immediately loses her consciousness. Makoto doesn't kill her because he just wants to get rid of the power that comes from the horns on her head so that later Meki will lose her identity. Therefore, she will be rejected by the human and demon races. At the same time, Sally is still possessed by the same power as before. She can fight Set, who is a high-level Oni, easily. As being cornered, Set then launches his Kihao blast from his horns that destroys the city of Rimdal. Thinking he has won, he is surprised to find Sally is not hurt in the slightest. Sally also immediately gives a slash of her sword which defeats Set. Set falls with Sally's one slash, and at the same time Sally falls unconscious. She then wakes up after being treated by Frau and Hawthorne. The scene switches to Makoto, who leaves the city after defeating Meki and making sure the other Oni has been defeated. Sally, who wakes up after that, still doesn't believe that she is the one who defeated the High Oni. Rumors of her and Fra saving the city make them even more famous, but the problems don't end there. They then meet with Meki, who was detained by the royal party because she was the perpetrator of the attack and would also be executed after she regains consciousness. But Frau and Sally take him away because they can't bear to see Meki, who is about to be executed. As a result, they are chased by the royal troops led by Hawthorne, but during the pursuit, the Rimdal kingdom receives another Kihu attack, which makes the entire kingdom disappear in the blink of an eye. The soldiers who are holding hands Hawthorne die instantly. The perpetrators of the attack are not yet known because no one is there. Hawthorne, who loses the kingdom where he lives in, then joins Sally and her companions. He enters tournaments to raise money and get stronger. Apart from that, Meki also goes with them and slowly learns about human life. There, Sally meets Makoto, who she once met in her kingdom. While in another place, the Oni assembly is performing a summoning ritual of 100 Oni. The higher-ups of Oni are summoned because most of the Oni's territory has been taken over by humans. Apart from that, They also discuss the existence of Makoto, which is known as Momotaro, who killed Set and Meki. His name is feared by all of them because his existence is very dangerous for them. Sumeragi, as the leader of the Oni, then shows evidence of Momotaro's ferocity, which slashed the heads of high-level Oni in one strike. Hence, the Oni have to be careful when they meet them. Knowing that Meki has died, Todoroki is burning with emotion and plans to kill Makoto and Sally, as Meki is an Oni who has a close relationship with him. The God of Masks, who is their superior, then leaves Sumeragi's presence after taking his subordinates who had lost to Makoto. It is not yet known Sumeragi's goal, and yet still mysterious. On the day where Hawthorne fights, Sally meets Sumeragi, who then reveals his intention to unite the humans and Oni race. But just then, Makoto arrives and intends to kill Sumeragi, as he is the leader of the Oni. Sally has to decide which side she will choose, whether to kill the Oni or to live coexist with them. Confused, Sally then decides to side with Makoto, but he runs away. Sally pursues him, and he then explains why he hates Oni that much. It turns out his family was slaughtered by Oni before his eyes, leaving a very deep trauma. However, his desire to kill Oni couldn't be satisfied even after killing countless Oni in revenge. In the middle of their conversation, 3 Oni attacks the city. They are Todoroki, Basu, and Shinki. As a result, there is commotion everywhere, and the tournament which Hawthorne is participating in has to be cancelled. He and his friends are ready to observe the scene, but Hawthorne's friend is struck by a lightning strike from Todoroki, causing him to die. Hawthorne then fights Todoroki, while his companions help them fighting the other Oni. Knowing the limit of his power, Hawthorne escapes from Todoroki, but he finds a tactic to paralyze him using a wooden sword. Todoroki doesn't give in. He launches his lightning bolt straight from the sky. He also uses his Kiho, allows him to have a new form like a genie behind him. Hawthorne in the end can only attack with his wooden sword, even though he has to die later. In this critical situation, luckily, Winnie arrives and saves him from the attack. Elsewhere, Fra puts a fight against Basu in the center of the city using her wooden hammer that she always carries. Their battle is still not clear which side will win. Apart from that, Meki, who fights Shinki, also cannot attack much as she doesn't have the Oni power. Sally, who meets Sumeragi, also is beaten up as they are now on different side and have different mission. Sally and her companion must fight against the high-level Oni. Moving to Winnie, who has saved Hawthorne. Winnie is a witch who has lived thousands of years and is respected by many people. She then gives Hawthorne a sword so that he can fight Todoroki. The sword is an extraordinary sword from Heavenly Treasure which belonged to Fra. The sword is able to cut anything as the user pleases. Winnie then allows Hawthorne to fight Todoroki with his lightning sword. Hawthorne receives Todoroki's attack, but he manages to defeat him in one slash. Meanwhile, Fra, who is hit by Chao's attack, is in fact still survived. That surprised Basu. Fra then transforms into her monster form, which allows her to end off Basu by cutting off its body parts one by one. Meki, who is dealing with Shinki, is still overwhelmed by the attacks given by it. Fortunately, she has a tactic up on her sleeve that has Shinki defeated with Sandu Punch, allowing her to win the battle. That is the end of the 3 High Oni. Sally, who previously survived, seems to be ensnared by her naivety to take care of Todoroki and then frees him after meeting with Meki. Finally, he knows that Meki is fine without the slightest injury. It turns out that there has been a misunderstanding between them all this time. However, when he returns to Sumeragi, he is killed instantly by him with one stab of his hand. That's the end of Todoroki, who was betrayed by his own boss. The next scene then shows a flashback to Sally's life the previous time. Sally is a royal princess where she wants to go on an adventure out of the kingdom. One day, she meets Makoto and is helped by him from being chased by the kingdom's soldiers. She asks Makoto to take her outside that she can have an adventure because she wants to get new experience and doesn't want to be restrained by the kingdom. At the same time, Sally's father, who is the king, is visited by the High Oni. He declares an attack on his kingdom after the neighboring country was conquered. Furthermore, he has another agreement: if the kingdom wants to be spared, they must provide sacrifices of 30 people each month. After giving the deal, he then leaves the kingdom. But later, he sees Makoto in the kingdom. He then immediately runs away because of the trauma he experienced due to Makoto's attack on the Oni he had seen. Makoto then leaves Sally's side and chases the Oni. The whole kingdom is in panic because a group of Oni comes to attack. Sally then approaches the royal gate and warns Makoto not to fight the Oni group because he would not be strong to deal with them. But Makoto, with his lust to kill, is very eager to fight them. The leader of the Oni warns his troops, but they don't listen to him and go on to fight against Makoto. Makoto advances on his own, mints and cut them all one by one with his katana, giving him pleasure. The one-sided fight is easily won by Makoto. Makoto then leaves the kingdom and bids goodbye to Sally. Sally wants to follow him, but she can't step over Oni's corpse, which had been exterminated by Makoto. Since that day on, Sally has the determination to become stronger so that she can go on an adventure like Makoto. She is aware that her current strength is still very weak. She then leaves the kingdom by throwing away her status as a royal princess after receiving permission from her father. Sally and her companions go on their journey. They arrive in a city where there are cases of vampire attacks that happen a lot. All of the victims died from loss of blood when they were found. Apart from that, the existence of Frau and Meki in the city as part of Agent Being is very hated by the citizens for no definite reason. They are treated badly when they are doing activities outside. As Frau is accustomed to the condition and can accept it, Meki seems hard to deal with it and seems much traumatized. Luckily, Frau gives her advice to get used to it. Meki then leaves Sally's group and meets Kyukitsuki. It is revealed that Kyukitsuki is the mastermind behind the vampire attack in the city. Meki asks for his help to attack the city, but she doesn't want to attack Sally's group. When she doesn't know what to do, Frau comes to help. Sally, with her strength, feels her friends are in danger. She rushes to find them. Kyukitsuki kills Frau with his Kyu attack that Frau dies in an instant. Sally, who is consumed by anger after seeing the dead Frau, immediately gives him a punch which makes the Oni vomit blood. She can also fend off the incoming attacks with ease. However, she is caught in a sneaky trap prepared by Kyukitsuki that she can't move. Meki helps her from behind to save Sally, causing her to become Kyukitsuki's new enemy. Frau, who has died in the afterlife, in fact, still cannot accept her death. She asks the goddess Atra, who is actually her friend, to unseal her power, which was previously sealed. As a result, she awakens with her hidden powers to save Sally and Meki. She also immediately ends off Kyukitsuki with one right strike into his heart. She faints when Kyukitsuki dies after a series of crimes he committed in the city. It is then revealed the dark past of Kyukitsuki, who used to be an Oni who married a human. He accidentally killed his wife due to losing his own control. This is where he began to lose hope of life and attack the citizens. After the death of the Oni, Frau is treated and recovered a few days after that. Atra comes and transforms Frau's form to its original form so she can adapt to the human world. They eventually has to part again. When he returns, Atala takes the life of Kyukitsuki, who is still wandering around, seeing his body being burned by the residents. Meanwhile, Makoto and his talking dog meet Milia in the middle of the forest during an adventure. Because Makoto knows she is an Oni, he intends to kill her right there. It is known that Milia lost her memory due her horns had been broken just like Meki, but the dog holds him that he doesn't kill Milia. In the next day, they continue their journey to exterminate Oni. They then meet with one of the Oni, which then reminds Milia about her true identity. They fight each other, but Makoto doesn't care about him. In that moment, Milia pulls out the rest of her horns and she passes out after asking for Makoto's help. However, the demon runs away after finding out Makoto's incomparable strength. Switching to Sally's group, they visit a famous witch in middle of forest. The witch has helped Hawthorne and his subordinate at the other time. Sally wants to ask for Winnie to teach her magic so that she gets stronger. First of all, she has to train her stamina to max out her magic. Secondly, they must practice swords to improve her skills. From the practice, Winnie finds out that Sally possesses a mysterious power which she calls by Bake Mono or monster. In the middle of their training, they are visited by Elven Tribe and Lizard Man. They are the tribes who often come into conflict with each other. However, because of the Oni's attack, they must work together and are assisted by Winnie to sustain their peaceful life. They then get ready in the middle of the border forest to attack the Oni who was already there. In the middle of the border seal, it was already opened by Winnie. An Oni named Hitsuki appears from there. It turns out Hitsuki is Milia, who previously met Makoto. Her purpose is to kill Meki, who is the former Oni. He sees Meki as a disgrace to her people. At the same time, a demon takes the form of a giant tree named Juki also appears. Sally's group finally sets a backup plan against them. Elsewhere, Himuraji and his subordinates meet Kibitsu Makoto, who is wandering alone. Himuraji's subordinate attacks him right away because he is feeling hungry, but he gets lost in one slash of Kibitsu Makoto's sword, surprising Himuraji. Returning to Sally and her companion, they all work together to divert Juki and Hatsuki's attention that Sally and Frau can launch their final attack. All races gather at the venue. They work together to make Sally more excited that peace between them will happen. Sally, who is off guard, is caught by Juki, who is not sure with Sally's idea regarding the peace between races because he had seen the incident where the Oni race and humans experienced conflict for centuries and did not find a point of peace. but she can escape from his grasps with the power that possessed her. After that, she is immediately attacked by Hatsuki. With her current strength, Sally can immobilize her opponents easily. She can also withstand the sudden attack from Juki. Sally, with her one-punch attack, can finish off Juki and make him disappear. Finally, their enemy can be defeated. The race of elves and lizardmen thank her for all what she has done. That's the end of the adventure story of Sally and Kibitsu Makoto in fighting the Oni and fight for peace among races in the world. That is the end of this anime. Thank you very much for watching from start to finish. Don't forget to like this video if you enjoyed it and subscribe for more content.